Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Kim and I have been teaching Yin Yoga for a bit now, and I'm excited for you to join me in this moment on your mat. Go ahead and grab yourself a mat, or at least a easy place for you to be able to lie down and stand up a little bit for about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, moving through several breathing and physical movement exercises. As you find yourself a space to be, gather any yoga props that you use, such as a bolster or blocks or an eye pillow. Or if yoga props are not something you currently have around you, gather a few pillows off of your bed or your couch and add a blanket underneath where your knees will be, as we will have a few hands on our knees and knees on the ground poses. Yin Yoga is a practice of moving intentionally through different movements without necessarily expecting any level of flexibility, physical fitness, or any of the things that you have as preconceived notions about what yoga might be. Those don't apply here. Any version of the pose is the pose, and if you've taken a class with me before, you've often heard me say that phrase, as well as noticing that when we find ourselves in two-sided poses, one side might be very different than the other. That's because your body isn't as symmetrical as maybe you would think or hope or expect, or Instagram could lead you to believe. We each live our days and our lives moving through the motions of what we're expected to do. Some of those motions allow different parts of our body to be strained or stressed in different ways than others. Sometimes that varies day to day, hour to hour, or season to season. As you find yourself moving through postures tonight that include two sides, please remember not to judge yourself, not to have expectations that are unreasonable for yourself, and also not to push yourself to a sense of pain. Throughout Yin Yoga, I instruct classes to kind of ride the wave of sensation. And what I mean by that is, if you were to rate sensation on a scale of 0, meaning exactly maybe how you feel right now, where nothing's exacerbated, nothing's stretched too much, you're just kind of here, to a scale of pain, if we wanted to give pain the number 10. We never want to get to pain. We never want to experience pain, and we never want to cause ourselves pain just for this purpose of growing. We might want to cause ourselves to move into sensation, to notice discomfort, and to notice what it can be like to sit with discomfort and ask it what it has to teach us. So find yourself maybe at about a 6, where 6 is sensation. Maybe you're looking to move a little bit deeper, so you move into a 7, but never really move yourself past there, because then you're bordering on the edge of pain, strain, and pushing yourself for the sake of pushing yourself, rather than sitting at that growth edge. So go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable seat, or lying down if you haven't already.
As we get started, we will spend, like I mentioned, like longer in each pose. And so for this first pose, choose any position that you would like to be in for an opening meditation. I like to do this if I were practicing in child's pose, but child's pose might not be comfortable for you. You can definitely stay seated. I have kind of a meditation that was given to me for kind of an idea of somewhat of self-healing. And so this may or may not resonate. Take from it what you would like. If it does not resonate, then use this time to just be and focus on your breath. And so as you get yourself into a comfortable position of your choice, adding any props underneath you that you want, bolsters, blankets, blocks, pets, anything that you would like to have with you. Just make yourself as comfortable as you can possibly be, maybe the most comfortable that you've been since you woke up this morning. And just feel yourself fully supported using any of the props around you. Noticing each part of your body that's making contact with the props, with the mat. Notice the temperature around you. And begin to just notice your breath. Many people go entire days without even thinking about their breath. And yet, it's the very thing that's keeping us alive. Your breath has been there with you since the beginning, from the very, very first breath that you took, in every single moment since then. Fitting to each moment exactly as it needs, exactly as you guide it, keeping with you. The breath never asks questions. It never judges you. It simply signals your body to be calm, allowing for healing to take place at some times. So let's honor our breath together and all that it gives us by taking 5 deep and purposeful breaths together. I'll guide you. So just fully inhale, expanding your belly or your back body, your lungs as much as you can, and just holding that for a moment. And then exhale, feeling a wave of relaxation sweep over you. Maybe you melt a little bit more into the prop underneath you. Your second breath, inhale, filling your entire respiratory system with fresh breath, fresh oxygen, and just hold that for a moment. And exhale, noticing again the wave of relaxation sweeping over you, maybe like a blanket settling you in. And inhale very deeply so you feel completely full of air. Taking a moment at the top to just feel what it feels like to be full of this life force we call breath. And exhale, noticing how your body maybe relaxes in different areas without any effort from you, just simply letting the air move out. And inhale fully, beginning to feel these breaths, maybe feeling a sense of purifying your whole body, taking things in, letting things go, pausing between. And exhaling, not having to do anything at all, except notice how you are physically and emotionally feeling right now. And our last one, a full, beautiful breath coming in. Hold it at the top, feeling invigorated by this task of taking 5 breaths together. And then exhale, allowing that wave of relaxation again to sweep over you. And as we continue on with this opening meditation, just take note of how you're feeling in this moment right now. Breathing deeply and fully is an expression of self-compassion sometimes. Taking a moment to just notice ourselves, spend effort minimally on caring for ourselves. And begin noticing how the very top of your head feels, whether it be facing towards the front of your room or the top of your room, depending on your posture. And let your focus move down to your eyes. Just notice how they feel. Notice how any part of your head or your face feels against whatever it's touching, if anything at all. How heavy does your head feel right now? Allow your focus to move to your nose, noticing the slight sensation of air moving in and out as you breathe. And when you breathe in, imagine that you are filling yourself up with the type of healing or energy or peace that you wish to feel. And then when you breathe out, imagine that your body can feel lighter, more relaxed, and like it's able to metaphorically release something that you're wanting to let go of or have less of. Next, I want you to notice each noise that you hear, noticing the one that's maybe farthest away from you that you can hear, and then noticing anything that sounds like it's in the room that you're in. And then noticing the noises as close to you as possible. Maybe that's the sound of your breath. Maybe you can hear your heartbeat. Maybe something else. Allowing each noticing just to take you fully into a deeper state of relaxation. And now focus on your mouth. How does it feel? And what do you notice? Is your tongue pressed against the roof of your mouth? Is your jaw tense? Take a deep breath and see if on your exhale, you can relax any tension that you just noticed in either of those places. Moving your focus down to your neck and your shoulders, your upper back. Noticing what it feels like to bring focus into these areas for maybe the first time on purpose today. And just allow your exhale to melt them into the prop underneath you. Release anything that needs to be released. And now just notice bringing your attention to your arms. Imagining maybe that as you inhale, you can essentially trace an invisible line from your shoulder down to your elbow, down to your wrist, and down to your fingertips. And then as you continue breathing, imagine that that invisible line is coming back up from your fingertips to your wrist, to your elbow, back up your upper arm to your shoulder. And then take another deep breath, filling up your entire ribs, lungs. And then as you exhale, open your mouth and adjust your head so that the opposite side of your face is pressed on the bolster. And let yourself sink and melt fully back in, melting your chest down. And as you continue breathing, take an inhale breath and notice your heartbeat, or just the physical area of your body where your heart is situated. Notice how your heart is supporting you, and maybe it's being supported as well. Keeping our blood flowing throughout our entire body in partnership with our breath. And now focus specifically on your lungs. Feel them gently expanding and contracting with your breath, working in tandem with your heart to deliver oxygen throughout your body, keep things flowing. And allow yourself to imagine the other vital organs throughout the center part of your body and your digestive system as well. just noticing how many different systems there are right here within the core of our body. We know that each of these systems can be impacted by our experiences, what we take in, what's around us, and illness. And so, in this moment right now, I want to invite you just to notice the emotion that arises when you think about your health today. Maybe your health today is feeling like it's better than it's been in a while. Maybe it's not. Maybe you don't know how it feels, or the emotion that comes up isn't one that you are interested in sitting with. The focus of tonight's class, as we hold poses for longer, is going to be on just sitting with what comes up and allowing it to just be there, not to consume us, not to take us out of a state of just being with the waves, being with the poses, but just to notice it. And maybe after class, you process it more on your own today, tomorrow, time in the future from now. Just sit with things and notice them as they come. And as we continue down our body scan, take an inhale breath and notice how that inhale breath feels in your pelvis and your hips and any physical sensations you're experiencing as we move to the second half or the lower half of our body. Take an exhale breath and see if you can melt your hips any closer to the floor, your feet, or into the props. And now we're going to allow our focus to move down our legs, similar to how we did our arms. Maybe you liked that visualization of drawing an imaginary line. I sometimes imagine that my arms or legs are glowing as I visualize them glowing from my hips down to my knees, down to my ankles, and into my toes, just glowing brightly with your favorite color, filling up with a sense of peace. And then as you exhale, just allowing that glow to dim from your feet to your ankles, to your knees, back to your hips. And continuing with this idea of visualizing, think to yourself what your favorite color is right now. And we're just going to take 5 more intentional breaths together, imagining that as we inhale, we're essentially filling ourselves up with a glow of that color, as if we're filling ourselves up with a sense of peace or ease or calm. And then as we exhale, that color will fade as anything that we don't need just releases from our body. So we're brightening as we take our first big inhale. Maybe you'd like to brighten from your head down to your toes, or from a different part of your body outward, filling yourself up, feeling a full inhale breath. And then as you exhale, just dimming back to your natural state, letting anything release. I'm doing this 4 more times. Inhaling deeply, pausing at the top, noticing yourself fully glowing, illuminated in your favorite color, full of peace. And then exhaling, releasing, melting. Do this 3 more times on your own, and then I'll guide us together. And on this final breath, just notice how paying this close of attention to your body has been. And as you exhale, which parts of your body can you soften a little bit more into this child's pose? If you aren't already in child's pose, go ahead and move to child's pose. And we'll just spend 3 minutes here before we move into a more upward facing pose of saddle pose to stretch out our hips in a different way. But as we continue being here in child's pose, maybe you want to make any small adjustments that you desire to be here for a few more minutes, allowing yourself to melt completely into the support of the posture. I will let us know when it's been about halfway through this 3 minutes in case you'd like to change the side of your face on the bolster. But I offer a quote tonight from Brene Brown that says, "We cannot selectively numb our emotions. When we numb the painful ones, we also numb the positive ones." I often come back to this quote throughout yin, throughout life, and throughout my work with others because it's hard to feel the hard things and it's hard to sit with them. But as we learn to sit with physical sensation, not pain, we can become more skilled in sitting with hard things temporarily, regulating ourselves through situations that were unexpected, and not completely shutting off our ability to feel. Because we want to feel that sense of joy, that sense of pride, and that sense of accomplishment just as deeply as we possibly can. But it can be difficult to feel those things when we've shut off our ability to feel the really hard things to survive. And so sometimes we need to protect ourselves, of course, but it's also important to find ways to move through those hard things. And so yin and restorative can be a way of just sitting with things momentarily. Maybe in the more yin practices, we sit with discomfort a little bit more. But tonight, just sit with any emotions that arise. We're not striving to add any extra stretch or sensation through these postures, but you might feel some sensation. And so go ahead and shift your head to the other side if you'd like to make that change. And then I'll just be quiet for about a minute or so and let you rest before we move on. And so as we prepare to move out of this downward position into a position where we're still lying, but facing upward, begin to notice all the points of your body contacting the mat. And just begin to press into your elbows and your palms and your knees to bring yourself up into a tabletop-like position. Just momentarily, maybe you want to make some wiggles and adjustments while you're here. Shift yourself back and forth a little bit. Just begin to move just a little bit momentarily, noticing your body as it moves from fully facing downward, upward a little bit. And then come to sitting back, but sit between your heels. And so if you have your bolster in front of you from child's pose, you can either move it behind you or you can just spin yourself around so that your lower back is against your bolster. And so once your bolster is right behind you and you're sitting with your seat between your heels, you don't need a blanket underneath you. I like to have one just because it's habit. But what we're going to do for saddle pose, which will be in for a full 5 minutes. And so if your knees already are not exactly interested in this, for sure, go ahead and we'll just forget what this pose is called, but we will just be lying back with our bolster underneath our spine, or you can take saddle pose one knee tucked at a time. And so if you'd like to take one knee tucked at a time, stretch one leg out in front of you, have the other knee bent into you. And then we'll take an inhale breath sitting upward, noticing what it feels like momentarily to have our spine upright, going directly from our mat up towards our ceiling. And then placing our hands on either side of our hips, slowly walking them back along the side of our bolster, and maybe coming down onto forearms, and ultimately lying our upper body back over our bolster. And use this first minute or so to make any adjustments that you'd like. Maybe you decided you want your legs in a different position, or you aren't at all doing saddle pose and you want to just be, in butterfly shape. But just begin to come back to your breath, feeling what it feels like to take a full inhale breath, pausing at the top, and then letting everything go on an exhale and melting into the support of everything underneath you. Letting yourself just be held and rest. And just releasing control of your breath. I'll let us know when we're halfway through in case you'd like to make an adjustment to your legs in any way. If you've taken saddle on one side, in my opinion, it's best to always try and do things symmetrically, but it's your practice. So any version of these poses, aside from poses that cause pain, is the pose. If you have taken this as a posture with one leg tucked and would like to change to the other, or to change anything about your position of your legs, maybe from butterfly to stretched out, or stretched out to butterfly, or any other adjustment that your body is asking for, make that now. And then guide yourself back down, letting the bolster support your upper body, letting your hands melt down at your sides, or stretch out to the side, or find somewhere on your body to be for the next few minutes. And as you lie here in this posture on this side, if you're looking for an anchor point throughout tonight's practice, I invite you to choose an emotion that you would like to feel more often during this month. We can't necessarily control our emotions, but choosing the idea of what we would like to feel more of, we can begin to cultivate experiences that help us feel that more. So I know for me, I don't necessarily consider the idea of peace an emotion, but I know that feeling peaceful and calm and at ease is something I want to bring more of back into my time this month. And so thinking of things like restorative yoga, journaling, putting my phone down, and just really being present in what I'm doing allow me to feel that. And so throughout the rest of the practice, maybe you need something to focus on and you think of ways that you can bring more of that feeling into your life this month. No need to focus on what you need to take out of your life necessarily, but just think of things you can bring in, add more of, change a tiny bit to feel a little bit more of something that you're looking to feel. And take one more breath, filling yourself up. And then on an exhale, let everything melt. And then begin to press your elbows into your mat. Come up to your forearms when you're ready. And then from your forearms, press down into your palms. And then bring yourself all the way up to a seat. You are welcome to stay in butterfly legs if that's where you already are. Where we are going next is a seated forward fold. 3 different options. One of them will be butterfly forward fold, and then we'll have the idea to stretch out one leg at a time, either straight in front or at a 45-degree angle. And so choose for yourself which you would like first. If you'd like to stay in butterfly and add a prop in front of you to rest your upper body or your forearms onto, go ahead and shift and adjust your space, bringing that prop in front of you. If you have blocks or something else to prop that up with and you'd like, feel free. I like to prop my bolster in my lap and allow myself to fold forward over that. And so while we're sitting here upright, take an inhale breath and just re-ground yourself into noticing what it's like to breathe in deeply, maybe imagining that favorite color line drawing all the way down your spine to your seat, into the mat. And then as you exhale, that line draws back up your spine, out the top of your head, as if your spine is a little bit of a tree. And take one more inhale breath. And on your exhale breath, just begin to tilt your upper body forward, bringing your arms onto your prop or your legs or the ground. And then tilt yourself as much as you would like. If you need to adjust your legs closer or farther from your body, do so. We'll be here in this forward fold for a few minutes. And as you take your next few breaths, begin to imagine yourself, but not yet moving, shifting your upper body back to an upright stance. And then shifting one leg out from the midline, either to a 45-degree angle or directly out in front of you to come back into this forward fold or a twisted fold over the outstretched leg. And then pressing your elbows into the ground or the prop underneath you. Begin to slowly unwind your spine back up, keeping your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, your chin tucked. And then when you get to the top, raise your head back up to neutral. Take an inhale breath. And then take an open mouth exhale, letting your shoulders drop a little bit more. And before we move to whichever side you'd like to move to first with your leg, let's just stretch out our neck a little bit. So as you may have done before with me, we'll just drop one ear to one shoulder for a couple breaths. Maybe you get some snaps, crackles, and pops. Try not to let the opposite shoulder come with you. And then maybe you try looking down at that shoulder, seeing how that feels on your neck. And maybe you try looking up at your ceiling, feeling how that feels. Just observing how your body feels. Observing any points of tension, any points of resistance. And then taking another breath or so, and then using an inhale to guide yourself back up to center. And once we find ourselves in center, just take an inhale breath. And then an exhale, open your mouth and let your head drop backwards, opening up the front side of your throat. Maybe you feel a sense of an opening across your chest. Maybe this feels incredibly odd. Either way, just observe it for no longer than you need to, but a couple breaths if you want to. And then use an inhale to guide your head back up to neutral, being really careful, as this can feel kind of discombobulating if you don't do it often, or even if you do. And then use an exhale breath to drop the opposite ear to the opposite shoulder, not letting the other one come with it. So I'm dropping my left now. And then looking down at that shoulder and up at the ceiling in your own time, guided by your breath, just observing how your neck feels. You're welcome, of course, to wonder about anything about it, but we're not here to fix anything, just here to observe and be. And when you feel complete, use an inhale to guide yourself back up to center. And maybe you just do a couple head rolls. Maybe you just pause. Maybe you want to shift a little, like just play around for a couple breaths, wiggling in any way that you feel like you want to wiggle. And then once you feel like you've gotten anything out that you'd like to get out, decide which leg you would like to stretch out first. I'm going to be stretching my right leg out at a 45-degree angle. And so you're welcome, of course, to have the bolster as part of any any pose you want. So what I'm going to do is, with my legs stretched out, my right leg stretched out, my left leg tucked in, I'm going to take an inhale breath and twist so that my upper body, my chest is facing that right toe. Twists can be really relaxing in some ways. And then with an inhale, just going to sit tall. And then with an exhale, I'm going to be placing my bolster on top of my right leg or right on the inside of it. And then walking my upper body forward, similar to what we did before. Allowing my chest to melt forward. Tonight, I'm going to have my bolster on my leg, not folding forward in any sense of overly stretching, but I do feel a sensation along my right side body, Sometimes it can be nice to reach your hands towards your foot. If they're down there, grab onto that and add in a bit of a calf stretch. Other times it's nice just to prop ourselves up, letting our forehead melt onto the prop. But settle in and just be here. Wherever you are, getting ready to move upward, to move to the other side. Go ahead and drop your hands down to the sides. And begin to press them into the mat. Just tiptoeing, just by walking your hands back closer to your body, so your upper body comes upright. Observing how your back and your sides feel. If you want to roll your shoulders up and back or back and forward. You want to twist back to the center, unwinding. And then just bring the outstretched leg back in, maybe to a butterfly, maybe just something else that makes sense to you. And just pause here in the middle for just a moment, observing how you are. This will be our last posture that's upright. We'll move to our back after this next leg. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring in your right leg, stretch out your left leg, wherever you would like it to be. Again, never expecting yourself to be symmetrical in postures. Restorative is about getting what you need. All yoga is about getting what you need, but especially restorative. Move your props over to the other side. Adding in that twist, go ahead and twist your upper body so that it faces towards your outstretched foot. And then using your next exhale, guide your upper body forward, tilting it towards that left foot, finding a place for your head to rest, just being here for a couple minutes. As you begin to prepare yourself to move out of this posture, just begin to notice your hands and then bring them down on either side of your prop and your leg, moving at your pace. And then once your hands are down, just use them to help yourself guide yourself back up so that your head is up towards the ceiling, your spine is upright. And then bring both legs back in. You can set your bolster aside. You might want to have it at the top of your mat to use it later to rest our feet on, or just set it to the side for now. We are going to shift around and come down onto our backs for a reclined twist. And we'll be in this twist for 5 or more minutes on each side. I love twists in general. And so from sitting upright, go ahead and just slowly lie yourself back, your feet on the ground, knees up towards the ceiling, so your upper body is back. And just windshield wiper your knees side to side. So keeping soles of your feet planted and just dropping your knees side to side, feeling a little bit of a movement, just observing what this feels like. And maybe you leave them to one side momentarily, or maybe you make this more or less exaggerated. Just feel into how this feels in your lower back and your hips. And just get yourself used to lying down again. And then, go ahead and curl your knees into your chest and wrap your hands around your thighs. And come into happy baby if you would like, or you can just have your knees curled in and rock side to side. Just notice the side to side movement as we get ready to come into a twist where we'll stay on one side. It's just fun to have a little bit of play between things. And if you are already in happy baby, maybe you begin to notice what it feels like. I like to kind of cue myself into happy baby by imagining my knees are going towards my armpits. And so sometimes I'll pull on the bottoms of my feet a little bit to get a stretch in a different part of my body. Some people like to straighten out one leg. I cannot do that, but some people can and they like to. Just whatever feels fun to you as you move your hands from your feet back to your knees, eventually settling into just knees hugged in, rocking side to side. We will come back to happy baby after our twist before we move to Shavasana. And then once you feel ready, go ahead and bring the soles of your feet back down to the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. And as always with two-sided postures, it's your choice which side you go to first. I like to do laying supine twist with eagle legs. And so if you'd like to join me in that, what I'll do is drop my knees to the left first. And so I'll plant my left foot, lift up my right leg and guide it over, just crossing my leg over, crossing my left foot into the mat a little bit to shift my hips to the right, and then drop my knees over to the left. Being in this pose for longer than we might typically be, you might want to grab a bolster to catch your knees, which I should have cued us to have it on the side, but we got there. And so as you drop your knees over to the side, maybe they rest on the bolster. And in this pose, I like to keep my chest pointed up towards the ceiling, placing my hands anywhere in my body, stretched to the side, stretched above. Maybe you rock your head side to side, notice how it feels on the mat. Just observe, make any adjustments you need, and settle in to this twist. Maybe as you're settling in, you notice you don't want your legs crossed and you just want them stacked over. It's totally fine. As you come into just a few more breaths here on this side, you have your legs crossed, just uncross them, but leave them stacked over to the side. Just begin to observe which parts of your body are touching the mat, touching any props, touching any pets that have joined you. And just be aware of how you feel right now. When you're ready, go ahead and use an inhale breath to guide one leg up at a time back to center, pointing your knees up towards the ceiling, and either coming to place the soles of your feet at the edges of your mat and dropping your knees together, or windshield wipering your knees for just a bit before we move to the other side. And the other side will be our final posture before Shavasana, where I'll offer another body scan and just a time to rest. So when you're ready, coming back to stillness, this time I'll be crossing my left leg over my right and shifting my hips a little bit to the left, and then dropping my knees over to the right. And so if you liked having that prop to catch your knees, just adjust in any way, no matter how awkward it may feel or seem, and have that prop on that side to catch your knees. As you have your knees dropped over, try and have your chest still pointed up towards the ceiling, really feeling into the twist, kind of bringing anything else out, and just melting into the supports, things underneath you. As we're about halfway through this posture on this side, just return to that idea of what it is that you wanted to add more in or feel more of this month. And come back to that idea and wonder to yourself, what is it that you can do to attempt to move more towards that feeling? What do you need to spend more time focusing on? Or at this point, maybe add in, what is it that you need to do a little bit less of in the interest of feeling a little bit more peaceful, more calm, or at ease, or whatever emotion or sensation you'd like to feel more of this month. And before we move, just uncross your legs if you have them crossed and leave them stacked over to the side for a couple breaths. And then on an inhale breath, guide your knees back up, pointed up to the ceiling at any speed that makes sense to you. Shift your hips back to the center. Windshield wiper your knees as needed. And then curl them into your chest, wrapping your palms around your knees or your thighs. And rock side to side again. And then make your way up towards grabbing onto your feet into the happy baby position. Just rock as long as you would like, or sit in stillness as long as you would like. And when you feel complete, stretch yourself out long on your mat and come into your Shavasana. And in a minute, I'll offer another body scan guided meditation as we close out our time tonight. Which, of course, if you want to just focus on being, no need to follow along with me, and just rest. And as you come into Shavasana, and grab anything else that you need to be comfy. If you want to bolster under your knees, blanket over yourself. Just make yourself as absolutely comfortable as you can while lying down. And as we come into our Shavasana together, we're just going to be regrounding ourselves. And so with your spine neutral and long, pressed into the mat, at ease, with your eyes open or closed, come back to that feeling of noticing your body parts that are touching the ground. Notice that connection between your body and the mat that supports it, between the mat and the floor. And now allow your body to rest even further down towards the earth. Be visualizing the way that the floor transcends down into whatever is underneath you, and underneath that, all the way down to the earth. And equally, feel into a sensation, real or imagined, of the earth rising up to meet you, meeting your body and relaxing your body downward, feeling that sense of a lift and of support. And then notice your toes, not necessarily seeking sensation, but a simple awareness, a noticing, and a witnessing of the toes. Both the right side and the left side. You may feel something or nothing at all, but stay with the awareness of your toes. And notice the awareness of your feet, both your right foot and your left foot, the inner arches of your feet, the tops and the bottoms. Make yourself aware of your ankles, your right foot, your left foot, and the heels of your feet, and your left foot, and your right foot. And then become aware of your whole foot. First noticing your right foot, and then your left foot. Now notice your shins and your calves, letting them melt down into the prop, into the mat. Notice your knees and the back of your knees, inviting in all sensation or none, just awareness, and treating anything that arises equally, allowing things to just melt, be spacious, and open to whatever arises, simply noticing it, not asking anything to change or wondering why it is. Begin to notice your thighs, notice your hamstrings, notice your inner thighs, notice the full front and back side of your upper legs, wrapping all the way around, just that sensation. Begin to notice your hips, exploring any sensation or noticing across your pelvis, across your glutes, across the sides of your hips, across the entire pelvic floor, pelvic bowl area, 360 noticing of your hips and everything around them as they connect the upper part of your body down to the lower part of your body. And draw your awareness up into your belly, becoming briefly aware of the movement of your belly with your breath. Maybe as you inhale, it rises into the blanket. And as you exhale, it sinks and your lower back sinks down into the mat, to the earth, to the ground beneath. Become acutely aware of your lower back, aware of parts of our body where our kidneys are. Whether or not the awareness of your internal organs in this area is real or imagined, just become aware again of all of the things within our body in this core central part of ourselves. And then notice your lungs and your chest. Notice how they feel full and expand to the top, to the sides. And as you exhale, how they sink down into whatever is underneath you. Can you feel your own heart beating or hear it? Not only through the front of your chest, but through your back. Become aware of your shoulders. Bring some sense of ease, either real or imagined, into your shoulders as they sink farther down and melt into the mat. Explore your right shoulder, your left shoulder. Now follow the energy of your shoulders down your arms like we did earlier. You come back to that sensation of your favorite color, glowing all the way down your arms, across your upper arms, your elbows, down the front and the back side of your arms, your forearms. Notice any space in the palm of your hands. Maybe you have space, maybe you don't. Just become aware of your palms. And become aware with your mind's eye what your thumb and each of your fingers feels like, whether they're stretched out or together. And then notice the back side of your hands. Maybe it's lying flat on the mat. Just become aware of that. Let it be heavy. And then bring that awareness back up your arms, across your wrist, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, across your collarbone, and let it meet at the center, the base of your throat. Become aware of your neck, the front side of it, the back side of it. Notice the back of your head lying on the mat beneath you. Notice your chin. If you notice your jaw and you feel any sense of sensation or tension, see if you can allow that to soften and release a little bit. As we move upwards, we notice our tongue inside of our mouth. If you notice it's against the roof of your mouth, can you allow it to just relax? I'm aware of your ears as they take in the sound of my voice and the sounds of anything around you. Become aware of your nose as it takes in your breath. Become aware of your eyes as they rest, your eyelids resting on top of them. And similar to our jaw, become aware of your forehead and allow any tension or holding to just melt away. Down across the sides of your head. Noticing the underside of the top of your head as that tension just melts down into the mat. And then notice the top of your head, the crown as some may call it. And feel a sense of spaciousness at the very top of your head. And then take an inhale breath if you're tracking your breath. And notice your entire body. Complete, connected, whole. And this connection between your body and the earth and the props. As you spend time just resting tonight, being acutely aware, you have the freedom to make little adjustments as you need to throughout your day in the interest of rest and comfort. And when we may not have that freedom, we can come back to it the next time that we do. And we can take our next breath a little bit deeper. Our next exhale a little bit fuller. And continue riding those waves of sensation as we move closer and closer to the shore of where it is we hope to be, one wave at a time, one breath at a time, one day at a time. So just continue resting for another minute. And then I'll invite you into a final breath with me before we move on to our evenings separately. And as you begin to get ready to move out of this lying posture, begin to decide which side you would like to roll to. And then in your own way, in your own time, curl yourself up and roll to that side. Maybe you want to stretch out long before, wiggle in any way that you need. And then curl yourself into a ball on your favorite side when you're ready. Bringing any props and pets with you. Just spending as long as you need in the fetal position on the side, as long as you're able to. And then use your hands as we have from our forearms to our palms. Guide yourself up to a comfortable seat. And once you find yourself in a seat, just bring your hands wherever is comfortable to you. We'll take a breath together. And so we'll take an inhale breath, filling ourselves up once more. Maybe the most full we felt all day. And then an open mouth exhale, sighing everything else out. Letting it go, letting yourself just be and resting in the work that you just put in for yourself by actively taking a break. Thanks for spending this time with me. And I will unmute if we want to do any checkouts.
Thank you for taking a class with me, taking this time for you, and being a part of my online offering of free yin and restorative yoga to anyone who needs a break. As per usual, since this is YouTube, I'm here to ask you to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone you think who might enjoy the same break that you just took. And if you would like to financially support these offerings, feel free to check out the description or visit my website, unbrokencircles.com, and you can see various ways to support me through Venmo, PayPal, or sharing the offerings that I put out with others who might need them. Thank you for taking this time. I love offering this to you, to anyone who needs it, and I'm grateful that you took this time to be with yourself, with me, and I hope to see you again. Please feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. Have a great day.